How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation, time to get that imagination all revved up, get into some creativity, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Charlie Bowater. She is a phenomenal illustrator. I love her color styles. I love her draftsmanship, her layout. Just a wonderful, wonderful artist. Check out this piece right here. The way that she does these lips is just phenomenal. It's so wonderful. The nice little highlights in there and the color choices, the eyes with that extra little orange accent there. Just beautiful. And then the way that she has these lily pads that frame the shot, and then the hair helps frame the face even more. And then you get that wonderful sense of water and liquid here without pushing it too far, but just so you can still see those shadows and lights that pour through that. This is just a gorgeous piece. And then these great callbacks to that orange in the eye with the little koi fish swimming around. Just a lovely, lovely piece. I was just blown away when I saw this. She's a phenomenal illustrator. So I urge you guys to check out more stuff from her. I'll throw some links down in the description below. I really like the way that she did this hair as well. There's a kind of a braided dread that's a really interesting hairstyle that I really haven't seen illustrated in too many places here, that I think she just did a wonderful job with. Again, gorgeous stuff. The color choices that she picks are just so wonderfully like classical feminine color choices that are just beautiful throughout a lot of her pieces. Another gorgeous piece. I love the purples and the browns, and then the skin tones that she really renders out, those beautiful skin tones and hair in such amazing ways. When I look at this, I'm like, man, I need to have a lot to go before I ever understand anything near as much as she does about color. Just a gorgeous stuff. So I guess that means that we'll go ahead and look at our quote from Charlie. And she said, "Most importantly, do good work. Just do good work." I think it's simple, you know. In the end, you want to do your best each and every time, and that'll open the doors for you to do stuff. So in the meantime, just keep growing, keep learning, and keep trying to do your best each and every day. So let's go ahead and get into some animation. Continuing on with our little secret password lip sync shot that we haven't hardly even gotten into. I feel like yesterday we got some stuff done, but I don't even know if I want to keep all of it. I think I have a couple other ideas for how to tweak this up before I get too far into it. We're using the Malcolm rig from Anim School. It's a free rig that it has great facial controllers in there, so I urge you guys to grab that one if you're looking for something that's a low cost of entry that'll allow you to get into really playing around with facial animation for sure. And we're using Autodesk Maya 2014 for today's video. For more information on that and all the stuff that we've talked about so far, check out the links in the description below. So that being said, let's go ahead and get in here. Now, before I get too far, I'm gonna have to turn off all the extras here that I turn on at the end and the beginning. So we'll just zero those all out just to make it a little bit faster here. And take the hair off for right now. Okay. So my main note, I felt like this pose was okay, but I think since it's a lip sync shot, I want the face to be more prominent, and I feel like we'd lose a lot here. So I think another way that we could play with this pose would be to just tweak it up. So by that I mean we'll have him do almost like the opposite pose to get the same kind of expression out there. So let's try doing that instead. So we'll swing the chest all the way back, bring this out, forward, bring this arm down. You know what, let's go here. Grab this and this and this one, and we'll keep what we have there and delete everything in between here. Just keep where we have it at 113. started that. Okay. Let's look at the neck here. What frame do we do this on? Bad me for not doing it on the right frame there. Okay, we'll just go with one. Yeah, it's 140. Okay. So let's look here. Go to 140. Rotate that head back. And there, 140. Bring that back here. So I'll throw the head back instead of bring it forward. Might be a little too far. Maybe a little bit in here. And again, that's probably a little too far. So let's get the arm here. And we'll rotate that down and over. And bring that back here. And bring that one over. Down here. Back a little further. And rotate that forward a little bit more. Plus, I think this is just a more interesting take on this kind of a pose than the other way around, too. It might be too far on the neck. Let's see. Still feels a little too far. I think we're going to need to tweak those shoulders as well. We'll really drop them down here. And drop that down. Keep pushing this arm a little bit more here. This one's it's a little more straight down there. Now we just got to kind of clean this up because it feels a little too pushed. So let's bring that forward a little bit more and bring that chest back a little bit more here. Maybe a little less on the head here. And a little bit more forward there. This arm a little bit more here. And just so we can continue working through this, let's see where this mouth is. This is the jaw, right? Just go ahead and really tweak in all of these. So let's get the eyebrows working. Get these corners here. Down, back a little bit more. That's the teeth here. Let's see. I'll leave those alone. Go here, bring those down. Let's see, how do we get these corners of the jaw these guys, because we want that kind of flat lower lip, so maybe we have to bring these up a little bit more. Let's see. It's the chin, right? Okay, leave that alone. Gotta be here somewhere. There we go. That's what we're looking for instead. Should be able to zero these out again. So I don't want to use a controller if I don't have to. Keep it less things to worry about here. And I'll kind of zero this one out for right now too. There we go. See, that gives us kind of that edge that we want. We might use a little bit of this to peel it down a little bit more. And let's bring that back. And drop it down. Okay, and bring this down, and that down a little bit there, and bring that corner down there, and that as well. And we might bring is this the upper lip here, down a little bit. We can do that too. Okay, there's just the regular upper lip though. This one, bring that down a little bit more. And let's bring the eyelids up a little bit here. Like that. Okay, yeah, I think that's overall going to be a better pose for us so that we can actually see the face more so than we could before with that other angle. So let's go ahead and grab everything here at 140 and set our key there. We're going to delete everything after that. And delete that one. Set it at 111, but I don't think that's where we're going to really want it. Let's see. So we'll go ahead and delete this guy, and delete that one, and that one. So 136. I'm looking at the feet here because I want those feet to still be working at the timing that we kind of worked out before. What's the upper body? Okay. So let's just grab basically the upper body then. Key like 107 and set that till like 113 and delete those two then there. And we've got 140. Delete that one, that one, that one. That one, that one. Okay, yeah, that's better. And then let's get in there a little bit sooner. So like 119 here. Let's maybe do about put 140 at 157, so that's kind of our like final frame there. Delete 140. there over to 140, so we still have a little bit of movement there. Okay, and we'll delete this one. Maybe we'll make it 117. Push that back to 120. So that we still have a little bit of easing into that last pose there. And delete that. Okay. Excuse me. Alright, so let's do a quick kind of play blast and see how that works out instead. I think that's going to be a better option there. We can really... because he's kind of crying or sobbing or just a little exasperated at the end, so we'll throw some shoulder moves in there that'll accentuate that movement as well. So let's do a quick play blast and just see how that. Alright, so it has a couple little quick moments, so we're going to need to give a few more frames to that. Like that move right there, how he gets in there feels a little too quick, and then how he gets out of it feels a little too quick. And also want to mix that stuff up, but before I get too far into doing all the secondary actions, I just want to get these big moments working correctly, and then we can get into mixing them up and doing everything. So let's play with our timing a little bit more there. So we're going to need to go from, again, we just want to look at everything up top, so not the hip controller here. So it's actually keyed at about 143. Let's take 140 and bring that back to 20. So then we have a little bit more move in here. Maybe even 50. So we have this slow looking here. I'll take maybe 152, make that our key instead. Delete that, and I'll take 152 and put it at about 48, so we have a few more frames. And again, this is just kind of getting the overall feel of the shot working better. Let's take what we have at 120, push that back to 123, and kind of slow out of this move a little bit more. Gives us a few more frames at least. Maybe we'll set 115 there and delete 113 so we can kind of go out of it a little bit. Alright, let's do a play blast with that timing tweaked a little bit. Alright, it's getting there. It's probably a couple frames slower than it needs to be for hitting the kind of beats for the audio track, so let's go ahead and play that though. Yeah, because that needs to hit this needs to be sooner, so let's go ahead and again grab everything here, and we'll turn our audio track off. So we need to hit 123 at about 114. So let's go ahead and grab that, and we'll cut a couple frames out of here. And that's the thing about animating to an audio track, is you have to kind of, you can't really just throw in an extra 5 or 10 frames here. You got to keep everything working with when your audio beats hit. Okay, we're going to have to look at the hips and how they move. There's a little bit of a hiccup there. It's fine here. I don't think it should quite be there just yet. Maybe at about 120, 130 it could get there. There's that little bit of still feels too far forward here. Let's go something more like that. Let's see. Alright, let's grab everything up at the top here again. So we'll just simplify it a little bit more. We like where we're at what? 110. Go ahead and key that. Get rid of 108. And we like 123. So this is just kind of trying to simplify everything a little bit more. There's just a couple too many keys in here. Delete that one. Delete that one. Delete that one. Delete that one. And then go here. So it's a little more of an even transition between there. We're going to need to mix things up so that everything isn't moving all at the same time, but again, we're just trying to kind of rough out our timing a little bit more. Alright, I think that'll work. Let's do another. Okay, I think we've got pretty close to our bulk timing now, that everything's working with that new pose included for our ending main pose. Now we just need to get in there and start really animating this thing, because we've got our main story beats, we've got everything kind of laid out. We've got where we want to go with it. So we have all the blueprints there of what we need to do. Now we just need to get it and make it look interesting. So let's go ahead and play it one more time. Okay, so like I said, I think that timing will work. We've got it kind of working with the beats of it now. Kind of getting into more body mechanics and more secondary action is what we're going to be doing now. But I try to get a really rough overview of my shots done first so that it works, and especially with any sort of audio track, I tend to not do the facial stuff until last, because I want to get the body mechanics working, because if you have the body mechanics working first and you have the main story notes working, the facial and the lip sync stuff is just going to accentuate what's already there versus really relying on the face to do everything but leaving the body really stiff. You know, if you ever watch public speakers and everything, they tend to not stand here like this and then just have very animated faces and then don't move hardly any of their body. They talk and they move and they point and they slam their fists down and they just get involved into it. So getting all of that stuff and getting those accents at the right time and everything are really what's going to help sell any sort of lip sync or acting beats. And then the facial stuff just augments what's already there. So try and get the body mechanics first. I think we have a really, again, it's really rough, completely rough. We need to break it down and get into some more stuff, but I think it's working now. So that's a great place to be at. I felt like where we left off yesterday wasn't really how I wanted it to work, but I think this is working a little bit better. So that's great. So let's go ahead. before we get too much further and save an alternate version. So I'm just going to pause. And we're back. Okay, so I think what I want to tackle next is a couple secondary action moments that I want for the shot. So this would be more like we have kind of our main keys in there for making this work. Again, they're not a key, kind of weird, I guess, but they're not exactly the keys that I want to keep, but our main key beats to the shot working. So now I want to make them more interesting. So the idea is, so this first one where it goes, this first part I'm going to keep like that, just where he's trying to say it on his own. So it's, what is it, Aquatamati Defadaddy, I think is the first time he tries to like say the secret password here. So I'm going to keep that alone and kind of keep that pretty close to where we had it so far, because this would just be his first attempt to say the secret password to open the door. So kind of keep that alone and not have that be super interesting yet, but it didn't work. So now he's going to get a little more stressed out. So then we'll have him go, it's a little hard to hear. Okay, let's try that. Yeah. Aquatamati Defadaddy is the first beat, so I want to leave that alone. And then I'm going to do, okay, so Defamasi Quada Posse, which is going to be like 40 to 75. That's going to be our second little chunk. And for that, I want him to look up at the door and then back down at the tablet are going to be the two beats there. So that's going to be, let's just do really with the head for right now, the head and the neck. So that's going to be, we'll go ahead and key it there, and then here we'll have him look up at the door. And let's keep the spine a little more straight for a little bit longer. So go ahead and do something like 30 and hold that till, let's say, 75. And then go ahead and have that hit at like 86. Actually, probably go about 70. And then have about 84 hit at about 77. So it'd be pretty much this first move. Let's turn our sound off for now. So okay, so let's keep the arms as well. Let's keep them working fairly similarly here. So let's hold 20 till about 45. Are we looking? Because we'll keep this kind of in the same place. We don't really want to hit that until so hit like 99 at about 80. 86. Let's see. So again, we'll kind of keep, we have it about 45 to 65, so we keep this movement kind of going here. the spine a little bit lower, a little bit sooner though. Let's see here. Let's take what we have at about 99 and move that to about 80. Let's hit 68 there, delete that. And we'll ease in there a little bit more here. So we'll bring that over there. Okay, so again, we'll keep him kind of in that same place for there. And then we're going to need to make that head move a little more interesting here. Now let's look at our sound again so we can make sure that we time that right. Get that head move because we want it to be looking straight up here so that he's looking straight at it here. So we want to key this here. And then let's have him look back down here. So I'll go ahead and put that back down again. Okay, so let's make sure we get that working. So that's our key. Let's make sure that we kind of hold this a little bit more. Okay, I'll turn our sound off for right now. That's fine there. Set that one. Set that. Go ahead and delete this. Set that one. Delete that. Hold that for a little bit longer. And then we want this hold to read for a little bit, so give me a few frames to have that. Look up, look back down, and then look more intently. So we've got this look up, look back down, and go in. And I think we need to blend that move overall a little bit more. So let's try and grab everything up top, minus the hip really. And let's try that again. Okay, I want to just grab chest. And let's start at the neck here. And then we grab the wrists and the arms. Trying not to use the hips since we have that walk going. I want to keep that timing and everything, how that's working pretty well here. And the spine. Okay. So we know we have it here. Look up, look back down, and then get into 75 so we can kind of blend those a little bit more. And then maybe get in there a little bit sooner. again, just don't worry about the other arm just yet. Because that arm just takes way too long to get there. So let's go ahead and look at that arm one more time. We'll keep it there till about 72. And get it up there a few frames sooner. Keep tweaking this a little bit more because that movement's not that clear. So let's hold that for a couple more frames here. And that should hit at probably about 73. So we have the original walk in, then we have him look up and look back down, and then it blends into that move, and then we're gonna have turn our sound back on here again because we're gonna do one more kind of. I'm gonna need to play it here. So we got so at this Pasaquasa, I think is what he says, we'll have this arm actually go down a little bit. This one will go up a little bit, out a little bit. Let's see. Because it'll have him kind of point up at the door. Again, because we're really trying to sell the idea to anybody watching this that he's trying to get the door to open. So we need that connection between the door and the hand and the eye and everything to direct the viewer's eye here. And where's the neck here? We'll get the neck up again. So we've got that, and then it goes back here. Still do some tweaking and everything here. Let's try and make sure we're on the same frame here. Turn the sound off again because that sometimes distracts me a little bit while I'm trying to do this stuff. So 93, just stick that 93 is going to be the one that we stick with. So delete 92, hold that till like 80. frames up. And then we're going to want to have him look up one more time here at about 109. And actually probably take 105, put that back there, and take 96 at 105. Maybe make that a little bit less, so that we still have another look down, look up, look back down again. So hold that, make that a little bit less. It's kind of a frantic look up and look down. Yeah, we need that head to be a little bit more rotated down. So then he looks down, then he looks again at the tablet, looks again at the wall, looks again at the tablet, back up at the wall, and then gets into him, getting frustrated. And we need to hold this for another couple of frames here so that reads a little bit better. And again, we'll go in and polish this out a little bit better, but let's see. And we'll do a big head throwback once we get there a little bit more. Okay, it's a little too much, so let's just kind of watch it a couple of times. So I feel like that works. It just might be too much, so let's scale it back a little bit. And maybe give me not as much movement, so it's up, down, up. And give me another frame for that. Make this last down smaller. I think we need to hold that for another frame here. And maybe taper this off a little bit better. Okay, so let's do a play blast and just see how that timing's working. I'm still feeling like it's probably a little too... Alright, it's getting there. I think we have some of those beats, but it's a little... we need a few more frames to do it all here. So this breakdown in between here needs to not work that way. So how are we going to do that? Let's go to bring over and back. And bring that out a little bit. Let's look at the arm. How does it get from there to there? should start off with something more like that to begin with. So let's see. And we'll bring that down a little bit more. And we'll tweak our hand pose a little bit more here. That way we don't have that whole overarching movement there. Okay, so let's just clear out some of this grit in here. So we know we like it at the beginning. I feel like that works. And that works. Let's get rid of everything in between here. There we go. Now we don't have that all there. Knew there was some problem. We had it recycling over like 180 degrees, so it would flip through it. So that's why we're getting that big gap in there. So let's take what we have at 8 and hold that to, what, about 50? And let's let that go out about 2 frames sooner. So we can have a little bit of a hold as it goes out there. And maybe 1 frame later after that. And hold that for a few more frames. Okay, so that arm's working better. Let's do a play. Alright, it's okay. Still feels like it's a little too much on the head on a couple of those places, so I might need to just minimize how that works again here. And I think we need a couple more frames to let this go here, so it's not totally intersecting through there. And maybe give it 1 more frame before it starts going back, so I'll delete that. And then we need to minimize the amount of movement on the neck because it flashes a little too much. So let's hold that first look a little bit more. Up, down again, then maybe just a slight lift. Something like that. So it looks up, looks back down again, looks up 1 more time. This being about another couple frames later, because it's really just building into that drag. And I have this hit maybe a couple frames later. Okay, let's try that instead, and let's put our audio back in and see our time. Alright, starting to come together a little bit better, so let's watch it now. Okay, now let's go ahead and tweak up the feet a little bit more because we still have about 10 minutes or so for our time together today. Let's go ahead and save off our file here because I feel like this is starting to come together. And okay, so turn our sound off here. I feel like we have our main timing working, but a couple of these steps I didn't feel like they were working quite just yet. So see if we can hold this for a couple more frames. And get it to land a couple frames sooner here. Maybe even sooner than that. Just felt like that last step was a little too long. And same here, let's take this step. And hold it for a couple more frames. Plant it a couple frames sooner. And this could actually go a couple frames sooner, I think, as well. Let's look at our translate Z on the hips. Let's go ahead and try and polish that out a little bit better. In there a couple frames sooner. Okay. I think that'll work a little bit better. And just so we have a little bit of variety in those feet, maybe we'll wait another frame for this one too, so this step might hold for another frame and plant a frame sooner. And same with this one, hold for another frame. And hold for one more, just so the timing on our feet's a little bit more varied here. And let's do a play blast and look at that here. Alright, I think that's working better. We kind of slowed up a couple of those steps here so they hold for a little bit, so it's not continuously walking at the same pace. There's a couple spots where they hold for a couple of frames there, and it just helps mix that up. And then move that step so it's a little bit quicker, so it works in with the ending pose a little bit better. And again, we'll tweak all this stuff up as we go, but I think it's getting there a lot better than I felt like we were at yesterday. We're in a better place then. So let's take a look back at where we started. We're looking at the beautiful work of Charlie Bowater, and she said, most importantly, do good work. Just do good work. It's plain, it's simple. Try and do your best every time. Try and continue to improve and to grow, and when you do good work, people are going to want to see it. So I love you guys lots. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope that you carved out some time to work on your own journey to take another step towards mastering whatever medium it is that you're passionate about, and thanks for sharing some time with me. So I think we'll wrap it up for today. You guys are amazing. Remember, if you're watching this, you are the creative future, so go out there and make something today, and I think we'll wrap it up. So we will see you for some more animation, some more imagination, some more creativity.